on GT Channel with Sam Itani, James McKeon, and Taro Koki.
Hello, welcome again to Pod Speed. We are doing this very, very regularly now. I think we are here to stay. What do you think, guys?
I certainly hope so.
Well, as always, we are at number 43 now. So as always, I'm joined by James McKeon of No Breaking podcast fame, and Taro Koki, who is the president of GT Channel and the man who puts all this together. And today we have a very special guest. We call him the voice, but he's actually the voice of drift here in America. Mr. Gerald DeAnda. How's it going, Gerald?
Good, man. Good.
Awesome. It's great to see you.
Home. Yeah, thank you.
And Taro's got, I'm sure he's got a million questions to see what you were up to, especially during this COVID crisis. Oh, by the way, have we all got our vaccines, guys? Yes.
I got one.
I got one.
Oh, okay. I did the one-shot one, the J&J one. So you too.
Oh, you okay?
Same right here. I can't walk anymore, but my internet's great.
I know. I have this weird desire to eat raw meat. I don't know.
I have this ringing in my ear.
I think I'm turning into a zombie. So
all I want to do is use Microsoft Edge, and I just want to Bing everything now. I mean, I don't know what's happened since I've taken that first one.
So good. It looks like California, and Jared, you are in California as all three of us are also. I think we are the lowest COVID rate in the state now, so that's good. So
I've never been so proud of being so low. It's
exactly.
But hopefully my mom's thrilled. I saw my mom and my 95-year-old grandma yesterday, and
you did. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. So
all right. Well, Taro, kick it away. I think Jared's got a lot on his mind, hopefully, and send it. And I'm sending it back to you.
There you go. Look at that.
There you go, Sam. All right, Jared. Thanks for dropping in today. I know you are a very, very busy man. You're in video games. You're at events. I mean, TV shows. You're on social media, obviously, and you have been the voice of Formula Drift for as long as anyone can remember, because you have been there since day one, right?
Yeah, I mean, 2004. So 2000. My drifting career could vote, shoot a gun, and join the military. So it's the 18th year here in 2021. So at the end of this year, I should say 18 years.
Yeah. So how are you doing? How have you been doing? The past year with COVID and everything, with the limited number of events and everything. How are you doing?
Adaptation is everything right now. I mean, we hear the buzzword pivot. What's your pivot, right? So for me, being an event announcer and MC, I already was working with multiple different brands that have been pivoting over the years. And as you know, technology is progressing, and here we are, we're more familiar, and actually we're okay with the internet not working sometimes and having a little bit of grace. So I think my grace has been that I've had a supportive wife, I have supportive kids, and the whole community as a whole, the automotive world, has had a good job pivoting everything from obviously, online racing to doing online and hosting events. Or, I mean, I announced a drift competition sitting in my bed. So adaptation is key, but me personally and my family, we moved from Arizona to California. Yes, we heard there was a lot of room, there's vacancies because everybody's leaving California. Yeah. And we like paying taxes. So me being a California kid gave us an opportunity. We moved to Riverside, California. My brother and his family lives here, and we bought a beautiful mid-century modern home, which I like architecture, I like design. Obviously I like design, that's why I adorn my body with a bunch of tattoos. But overall, happy to be healthy. Overall, things are decent, obviously, but everything. I just got back. Actually, I was at LS Fest this weekend in Las Vegas. Yeah. But I will tell you a really cool project that I've been doing, and I feel like Vaughn Gittin Jr. all of a sudden. You ask him one question, he just goes. But I will tell you, talk about a really cool pivot. Hot Wheels, the Legends Tour, and. To celebrate 50 years of Hot Wheels 3 years ago in 2018, they launched the Legends Tour. Well, 2019 got a little weird. 2020, and things just progressed. So it's interesting. So I've been hosting these online Legends Tours, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I saw the final for last year, wasn't it at Jay's Garage, right?
Yeah, that was the culmination of. It was the culmination of the whole 2020. So at each stop, We had 20 vehicles submitted, and each stop's winner went to the finals. So I can't remember exactly how many numbers, but yeah, at Leno's Garage, Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias, the stand-up comedian, was there, and Snoop Dogg was there. So
that was
he
awesome.
didn't cuss not once, but twice. Or no, he only cussed once. It was good though. We could easily edit it out. And then a bevy of Hot Wheels designers and some other special guests. It was rad, man. It was really cool.
That was pretty cool. With Snoop there, was the ventilation at Jay's garage good enough for the?
I all of a sudden got really hungry halfway through. And it just, I had a hankering for like nachos and any tube shaped
Doritos.
Yeah, like all like hot dogs, beef jerky. It was really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So you grew up in California, actually. You were away in Arizona for a while. But did you imagine a career like this when you were growing up as a child?
Absolutely not. No. And admittedly, my parents divorced. I was born in Northern California. Parents divorced when I was 7, so figure 2nd grade. And so moved from Cupertino, which a small little company called Apple was there. And then moved to San Diego, and then grew up in Poway, which has, I really liked Poway. And I saw when the Walmart went in and the Target, because I'll be 43 this year, man. And just seeing that community grow. But I grew up street racing in San Diego. They made the movie Fast and Furious about what we were doing. I worked at Group 5 Motorsports, and this is I went to Tokyo Auto Salon in 1999. Went to the Tomei factory. Went to June Auto Speed. Like that was really just a moment for me. So how my career has progressed and going from street racing to where I'm at now, I'm absolutely blessed to monetize my passion. And my passion, honestly, might not even be cars, but just talking, because I was always the kid that I'm a terrible student. Like I had to get, this would not happen nowadays, but I believe it was 4th or 3rd grade. I had to get tied to my chair because I kept getting up. And my 1st grader, T-Bone, AKA Tyson, he's obviously not getting tied to his chair, but he has a real problem sitting in his chair. I wonder where he got it from. And then even in high school, the seating chart in science class, you know how like, it's like, Taro sits here, James sits here, Sam sits here. Inside the room. Mine was just outside the door because I just get kicked out every day. So I was the kid that read aloud in class, though. And I could read something perfectly with good, just, upswing, downswing and all that. So I think that was a bit of foreshadowing into me having a knack for speaking and talking with still to this day, no formal, basically lessons or anything like that. So I never went to school for it. I dropped out of Palomar Junior College because I had my EK Civic and I didn't want to get it door dinged. So I dropped out, and look at me now, baby. I'm talking smack around the world.
That's your job, talking about cars though, right?
Yeah.
And hey, Jared, real quick, Jared, if you were going to give advice to anyone who wanted to do what you're doing, what advice would you give? Because obviously you really don't, well, I'm sure the education and formal education stuff helps, but what did you find is the most important thing?
I would say, again, I would go back to, it's not about money. It is passion. You have to find passion in what you're doing. And, even my wife asked me, hey, are you still excited to go to Formula Drift? I said, yeah. Honestly, it's relationships. Life is about relationships. And it's not who you know, it's how well you know them and how you progress. We live in a really small community of automotive world, but it could be paintball, it could be golf, which I golf a ton now. And I love that because our whole 4-unit family, my freshman to my 1st grader, and I use that analogously, saying that you got to find passion. If you can monetize your passion, that is key. You can't duplicate equity, just like a weather-stormed Boston brick building. No matter how good you are at Disney Imagineering, to duplicate that, you just can't do it. So somebody like me, I've taken all the cliff notes of drifting and rallycross and score. I've announced all these events, even from a heavy metal karaoke costume contest at Comic-Con with Scion. So all of those things is pretty much what I do. But I say I come to it from a very passionate place, but also I'm a fan. I'm an enthusiast. So as far as formal education, I really can't say particular. If you want to come for my job, we can battle like Eminem, like Bunny, like what's his name on 8 Mile. But, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So arms is sweaty, palms is ready, mom's spaghetti. If you want to get into announcing, emceeing, hosting, all I can say is just be a student of the said product. If it is drifting. I've had a lot of, pro-am announcers really admire what I do and how I do it. And it's just about owning your brand. I always say, be honest. You never have to think a day in your life. Under promise, over deliver. That's something I learned when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So that's really key. Be honest, do you, because you do you better than anybody else does you. So own your brand, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, because you do have weaknesses, and those weaknesses can be helped in assistance with relationships. And that's what life is truly about.
Yeah, great stuff. Words of wisdom, man. But
a lot of 20-year-olds are going to be coming for your job now, Jared.
it was never, it didn't come like immediately to you though, right? I mean, you had to work hard to do this on a full-time basis, because when we first met, you still had a day job and you were like announcing as something extra that you just kind of like you were doing because you loved. How did that happen though? How did you like go from, just kind of side, just doing it as a side job to a full-time gig?
I'm never not busy, you know what I mean? And yeah, to your point, when I started announcing Formula Drift in 2004, Ryan Sage and Jim Lau, I knew them previously from Import Drag Racing or Hot Import Nights, and that's where they had previous careers. And they said, hey, you're charismatic, why don't you try it? So 04, 05, 06, I was working at McGuire's. So I kind of parlayed that. I didn't get paid anything in 2004, and I still don't get paid. I just get chicken nuggets, and I'm joking.
Free T-shirts.
So here, you may hit me square between the eyes, is people like, oh man, Jared makes mistakes, or I called a car wrong, or not the prettiest. When I called Mad Mike's reverse entry in Atlanta, heard around the world, they're like, what is he talking about? I will tell you that it's very rare you see a 100-point qualifying run. I shoot for that 100-point qualifying run, but I'm average 90 to 95, maybe 85, depending on feeding off the vibe of things. But it did not come naturally, and the progression of the drift cars is analogous to my career progressing. So we started out with Hachirokus and S13s, and now we have 1,000 horsepower Ford Mustangs and S15s and 370Zs and Ferraris. I never thought drifting would progress this way. So I'm even more excited and eager to see where it's at. So as far as my career and my announcing, presenting, I mean, I will tell you a funny story, Taro and Sam and obviously James, but I met my wife at SEMA Show in 1999. My wife works in the industry. She works at McGuire's. She's been there, I think 18 years now, and from special events to this. But when I met her, she was working at Tenneco Automotive. She was doing pit hospitality for Cool Joe Amato. And anyways, to say that, she was living in Illinois, and I was skateboarding down Flamingo to get to the SEMA show because I was working with Rodney Wills, aka TMR MZ.
Oh yeah,
iconic street race
little magazine. Right. Yeah.
So I skateboarded down Flamingo, and I meet this girl at a party at Craig Paisley's house party. Sean Carlson was there, and Stefan, and we actually rode in the back of Sean Carlson's Mitsubishi all-wheel drive Diamante. Well, I just turned 21. I'm just sitting at the bar drinking. I care less about girls. She was really smitten on me. Fast forward, I was trying to go out with her like the next night. She says, I have to go to the SEMA banquet. Jay Leno's hosting. And she got all dolled up, said, all right, peace. Well, I'm in a room with like 10 other dudes and like I wasn't making much money at TMR. Well, she says, you know what? You can go ahead and crash because, we party and all this stuff. She says, you crash while I go to this banquet. It's not so much about the relationship, which eventually she became my wife, so it's all good. But that same banquet that you went to that I'd never been to, as of 5 years ago, I think, I host that said banquet. So talk about this whole progression and what I've done. Here I am hosting with Jay Leno and Snoop Dogg and Fluffy. And prior to that Hot Wheels thing, I just came from Detroit, and I hosted a big Ford Auto Night SEMA show special with this huge LED set that they use for the Mandalorian. And the big jibs and all this digital stuff, which I know you're familiar with, Taro, but I say all that because I do need to have those pinch me moments and not act so jaded, aloof. I'm very, very grateful for these relationships that do progress. And I guess that's a theme of mine is, again, it's not how well you know them, because we live in a world where we're all interconnected, 1 degree of separation, 1 DM away from talking to Elon Musk. So for me, it's pretty cool to see how this has progressed, man.
Yeah. With all these folks that you meet, have you ever gotten starstruck? Like, you've met a lot of people, but was there a time when you were like, my name is?
Oh, hey, Jared, you can't count this time, right?
Sam?
Yeah.
Sam? Oh God.
Or James or Taro, you can't count this. Not counting this time.
You were backing up into your thing. You were like Homer Simpson through the bushes. So I didn't know the GT Channel thing was there.
I saw James roll his eyes. But sorry.
What, on the Homer Simpson reference? Come on.
No, just on the Sam reference.
Yeah, got my reference.
Sam's the most humble guy he knows.
It's true.
True.
So to answer your question, yes, and as humbly as possible, I work with great people. You know, if it is Ken Block and Vaughn and all the drifters, and I mean, going to Goodwood Festival Speed and hanging out with the now Duke of Richmond, and you know, I helped bring all that. You know, humble brag to me. You know, I helped bring all the action sports element to Gumball 3000. I worked with Maximilian for multiple years, brought in DC Shoes and Rob Deerdick and Big Black, all these things. You know, met the King Petty at Goodwood Festival Speed, hung out with John Force, and just all these automotive personalities. Killer Mike's a homeboy of mine who's in Run the Jewels. I love crossing worlds. So speaking of that, I think the one time I was kind of like, boo, was basically when I just blacked out, was actually at that Scion heavy metal costume contest at Comic-Con. I landed in early, so I got to go to Comic-Con, and I'm walking down, you know, the Gaslamp Quarter, and I kind of look over and I look into a hotel, and the bar, it's kind of those big, you know, accordion doors. And sit at the bar is Anthony Bourdain. So I was like, whoop, and I backed up and I kind of scoped the land, and I saw, you know, you had to go into the hotel and go to the bar. So I go in and you know, Mr. Bourdain, I'm sorry. Big fan, like big, you know, and I had no beard. I was baby faced, you know, you know, this is 10 years ago. And I just said, man, I love what you do. You have such a great candor. You're eloquent yet street. You have an approachable quality. You're very transparent about your story. And unfortunately, obviously, he passed away a few years ago. And I'm glad I wrapped out with him. Come to find out, he was actually with the illustrator for his graphic novel, is the Giro one. So that's who he was conversing with. And he actually talked, I was like, yeah, I know it's car races, drifting. If you ever want to come out to an event, it's called Formula Drift. I'm known as the voice of drift. You can come out, it's kind of cool, you know, and almost get the nervous chat. And he was talking, he's like, hey man, I just drove that new Tesla last week. And this is years ago. So he's like, and this is when the post Lotus Tesla came out. So he drove like one of the first Teslas. So to answer your question, Bourdain was definitely kind of a, you know, you know, mind vomit, right?
Yeah. Well, you've known a lot of these drivers on a personal level, right? I mean, what do you think about, like, you know, you've known like Vaughn since he first, you know, all those guys, right? Since they came out, and you even like the recent ones too. Like, I mean, like Frederick is like a recent one. He's been like probably in there for like 10 years already. But what do you think about their progression? How they've like turned in from these, like, you know, kids, you know, like wrenching on their own things to, like, look at Vaughn. He's got like his own compound now, right? I mean, what do you think about that?
The overall just landscape of motorsports has completely changed. And I appreciate the traditionalists of, you know, roundy round, if it's NASCAR or circle track, and, you know, midgets and all of that kind of stuff. I'm really proud of where drifting's at, and me being part of this DNA. I'm just part of it, right? I mean, you can't do it yourself. Self-made, I really don't believe in. Back to relationships. What I love about the personalities that I've come to see, even like Ken Block. I knew Ken Block when he still owned DC Shoes. So if you look at that marketing machine turning up, that's a great, you know, basically, you know, exhibition of what you can do if you apply your marketing sense. I mean, right, here's Oprah, The Secret, right? An opportunity and filling that solution, right? Boom, there you go. So it was good timing for Ken. And I always say, like with Justin Bieber, right time, he's singing on church steps. And then Scooter Braun and Usher see this video and success, right? I mean, the Beatles hitting Ed Sullivan Show and all that. I always say that with music. In the automotive world, drifters were looked at as like these, you know, boy racers, right? Using the British term. But now when you go to SEMA, Vaughn's head is massive on the side of Las Vegas Convention Center.
Yeah.
And everybody has their different appeals, similar to music. So you have your rock and roll, you have this kind of Americana kid rock that is Vaughn Gittin Jr., or you have, 3 Inches of Blood and Bouncing Souls that is Chris Forsberg, or you have this Norwegian kid named Frederick Osbo who loves Top Gun and loves 80s music. He loves Kenny Loggins. So take all of those brands and you choose your person. It's freestyle motocross, it's even supercross. You look at the progression of Ricky Carmichael. I didn't like Ricky Johnson. I liked Ricky Carmichael. McGrath, dude, took it to the next level. Dude, Chad Reed, now, Cole Seeley, he's in drifting. I like that dude. You have these relatable qualities with these different personalities. But like you said, just turning it up and monetizing your passion. Vaughn is constantly, it's funny, I introduced him to Rob Dyrdek years ago, and they did, Rob's Fantasy Factory a while ago, and they built a skateboard car. And Rob is a smart businessman. Anything he does is an investment. I haven't spoken to him in years, but Rob and Vaughn really hit it off because they have really good similarities. Even back when Rob Dyrdek was on just skating in DC shoes, he had a TF, a training facility. And when I worked at Group 5 Motorsports, I hooked up his Audi and I hooked up his Porsche. He let me drive his, 911 back in the day, got him roof parts and got him some tech art stuff. Anyways, Vaughn just has a great business acumen. He's looking to progress. Frederick Osbo, working Toyota, Rockstar. I'm really proud to see different drivers. And now we have this opportunity that is YouTubers. If you look at TJ Hunt, your Adam LZs, you look at Chelsea Denofa, that's another tool in that Snap-on toolbox. I'm Jared Deanna. This is Snap-on Tools, great garage. I'm joking. No, but it's
smooth, man.
That was smooth. That came. That's why you make
it
the
was
bucks,
like
man.
it's like he's done it before.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah.
My mom thinks I'm really good, so she says, "Stick with it. You'll be something, Jared."
Like, who would have thought Dai Yoshihara would be, a Pikes Peak champion when he first came out, with the pack rim car, I mean, who would have thought, right? I mean, it's just the progression is crazy.
Just seeing him and his, again, we keep using the same buzzwords, but his brand is unique. I always say it, and you've probably heard me say it, his car kind of embodies his demeanor. It has this quiet but scary sound to it. I mean, not that Daijiro is scary at all, but he's look at him becoming a father, a husband. His English has gotten worse since he's gotten married, because I know they only speak Japanese in the house. So it's gotten worse. And we used to teach him bad words back in the day when he used to party with us in Drift Alliance, right?
And that's saying something. His English got worse.
It's so bad.
Wasn't too much to go with. It was pretty low to begin with.
Well, he was going out partying, right? So you'd meet these, English speaking, Japanese women or whatever his, flavor was, and then he gets married. And I'm like, dude, you need to come hang out again, bro. We need to go have some beers.
Get out.
Yeah, I keep on telling him your English was best when we were doing Behind the Smoke.
Right? Him and Josh were hanging out, right? Josh Barnett and he was learning to fight and all that stuff. And you know what? It doesn't matter, because that is Daijiro, and you meet them where they're at. And that back to the point of, whatever your driver is in the drifting world, or rallycross, or even, desert racing, or whatever it might be. And that's something like the Hot Wheels Legends stuff, the diversity and what, I mean, let's talk about the term hot rod. The term hot rod is just absolutely transcended, because previously it was kind of a moniker for like American hot rod muscle car. Yeah. And now the term hot rod, you could apply that to drift cars. I mean, you're putting, look at what Turk's building with this Formula Supra, right? Or Freddie with his vehicle, or the GT4586. That is a hot rod. You are Frankensteining a vehicle to your liking, into whatever discipline you want to do. If it's drifting, if it's rally. I mean, back to Daijiro Yoshihara building that electric Tesla to rip around, and accidentally breaks the record of electric car at Willow. Right?
Yeah, and he's going to be racing that at Pikes this year.
Sick.
Or different car, but yeah, a Tesla.
That's exciting.
James, you have anything for Jared?
Well, there's two questions, Jared. First one, with Josh Robinson not competing this year in the Formula Drift Series, who is the sexiest man in Formula Drift now? Is it back to Freddie, or has Freddie got some competition?
Great question. Great question. Again, depends on your flavor. You know, I think Jonathan Castro is good looking. I think Daijiro Yoshihara, he's a sweetheart. You know, I'm more about the internal as opposed to external. You're a little superficial. I like
I'm just going by your words last year, Jared. This is not me. This is your picks.
I'm gonna say Ryan Sage. I think Ryan Sage he's grown his facial hair out since Halloween last year. He took a big affinity during COVID to watch Yellowstone, the TV show. And he dressed up as one of the characters, but I still haven't seen it. But
he's got
I've been
a
on a
beard
lot
now?
of Zoom calls with Sage, and he's really adopting this kind of this manly scruff, and it looks good.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Follow-up question. I had one from one of our listeners by the name of Sam. He suggested he wanted to know at what time at a grid life do you have to remove your shirt? When is the time period of that happening?
It's not so much time; it's kind of the applausometer.
Okay.
It replaced applause with libations. Any variety. Okay. I show no prejudice of alcoholic beverages. So it could be beer. You kind of start up on a lower octane ABV, and then you work it up to nice IPA. Go for a DIPA, go for a double IPA, and then it starts going into a little more booze concoctions. And then you spill a whole margarita pitcher on yourself. Game over. It's a full wet t-shirt contest, and population this guy, I show up in grand fashion. So Sam, thank you for the question. First time caller. I really appreciate it, Sam.
I was waiting for James to turn up today without a shirt. I don't know why you have a shirt.
I can't compete.
This is a kid-friendly show. No, this is a kid-friendly show now.
Oh yeah.
And then, Jared, how are you finding podcasting since you've taken that moniker up in this past year?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's something that I actually own. So admittedly, it's the only thing I actually own outside of my name and my things and stuff like that. But I have worked for 18 years for other people, and it's something where just like right now, I haven't put one out in a month probably because schedule abides, as well as I really like doing it in person. I think I really benefited doing it in person, and this is absolutely sufficient. I'm not throwing shade at all. I'm just saying I work well because I don't like doing Zoom calls, and I only do audio. So for me, it's going to talk to Esteban Oriol, even doing one with Scott, from Snap-on, or going to Magnus Walker's shop and rapping out with him in person, really getting the sensory overload, the smells, the feels, the touches, all of that. But in regards to my podcast, because everybody enjoys Roadrunners, which is an acronym spelling out beer with Jared Dienda, I truly do enjoy it because I obviously can talk for days, so it's a great format for me. I'd really love for it to take off, and again, I kind of want to tread lightly, because again, the podcast, like me, schedule, it's all sporadic, it's all over the place. Just like today, I got to go do some other stuff. But thanks for asking. I really enjoy the format. And then,
soap. Where does the soap come into play?
Right? Yeah, that was super random. I like that. It's somebody, and there seems to be a theme again here with alcohol and stuff. And somebody said, I said, hey, what do you think it smells like? And the first one that really got me going, it smells like an alcoholic. I'm like, right on. That's great. Really appreciate that. The soap will be coming out whenever it gets made and gets sent to you guys. Dude, I'm doing so much stuff. Honestly, I have a dress rehearsal at Wednesday, and then I got to go to LA to host that. I got to golf this weekend. I have friends coming in. I'm selling advertising for a magazine because, again, proudly living here in Riverside, California. I'm selling advertising, but more of a mouthpiece for the Riversider magazine. It's going to be Riverside's premier magazine. So all of these things just equate to my affinity for the diversity of what we're doing. But it's just fun, man. I'm just having a lot of fun. So I guess the question is, what do you think of my podcast, guys? Do you listen to it? Have you listened to it at all? Taro, James, Sam?
I enjoyed it. I know Sam's a huge listener. Sam Matani, he listens to it back to back.
Sam doesn't even listen to this podcast.
Sam doesn't even want to be on this podcast. We just drag him along every couple of weeks. We pull him into it.
No comment, man.
No comment.
See, look at that. No comment.
Man, geez, so, you can pull that knife out of your back there, Sam.
No, I just straight in the front. Yeah, it's straight in the front with Sam. He doesn't mind.
Yeah.
Hey, so yeah, let everyone, viewers, listeners, follow Jared's podcast for sure. Follow on social media, all that kind of stuff. But hey,
Give the
before,
name and everything.
yeah,
there
yeah.
it goes. Thanks.
There we
Good
go.
job, James.
James, I was waiting for James to pull it up.
Hey,
Always
there we
on
go.
point. There we go.
And while this is on Apple, please, I'm sure you could find this wherever you listen to podcasts. Wouldn't that be right, Jared?
Yes, exactly. It's on all the
Road
different
runners.
channels from iHeart. What else are you looking at here? I want to see what you're looking at. Toyota Celica Coupe.
Well, mostly I wanted to talk about this Big J battle machine. If you could react,
Hey.
bring some of the Big J battle machine back, that'd be fantastic.
It's the
Yeah,
IMDb.
man. Yeah, it's so funny. Like I have so much more stuff than that, but I don't have a person. But yeah, I was the main host, Big J, on Need for Speed Pro Street. So it's funny when kids realize that when they're the right age of that, and they just played it all the time. So I've signed a couple of the old games. I don't have any more anymore. So I'd like to acquire some that would play on my kids' current devices. But yeah, when I say Ryan Cooper, Ryan Cooper's been killing it all day. So basically, like, people trip out when they do that because there's a kid who owns when you start the game, you're in an S13 and it's kind of clapped out. And he built his vehicle to emulate kind of the first introductory car that you build in Need for Speed Pro Street. He lives up in the Bay Area. I can't remember his name, but it was pretty cool. So that was an awesome experience. I did 40 hours of voiceover for that game.
40 hours.
You had to create just the flux of influx, downflux, level, and they would stitch it together depending on the choose your own adventure of the video game.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my Instagram, man. I still can't get a blue check. Can you help me, Taro? Not that it means anything anymore, but people that have like 1,500 followers, they have a blue check. I have 48,000.
Oh yeah, the official the check, huh? Yeah, I
don't have a blue seal of approval. I guess I'm not the real me, or I'm not important enough. But
I think GT Channel has one of those checks. Don't you have to like apply for that, or just
I did. I've applied and they've denied me. I was like, oh, I'm a personality, or I'm a host.
Not the real dude.
I don't know.
Oh man, GT Channel doesn't have one, huh? Either.
Oh, robbed, robbed.
Robbed.
Right? Yeah. There's my soap. There's my son. There's me golfing. There I was with Travis Pastrana. I did an awesome event out at with Cletus McFarland. Speaking of YouTubers, the Freedom 500. That was really fun. Where you got all these different YouTubers from people that I don't even know, Whistling Diesel Brothers, Diesel's this, Diesel that, but also Haley Deegan was out there. Ryan Turk was the only Toyota Camry, excuse me. It was fun. Chelsea was out there, Adam LZ. Yeah, man. So, but I'm looking forward to FD, man. We're getting back. Yeah. It's going to be a full season. Pro spec looks exciting. Just saw Micah Diaz out of LS Fest. But the new format, the FQK final qualifying knockout qualifying format, excuse me. So do you know about that, Taro?
We had Jim on. Did he talk about that when he was on?
Yeah.
Right. Explain that to us again, Jared.
Basically
the format.
Yeah. So to fill a 32 bracket, we will have basically locking in, the 20, so basically 8 spots will become available. Do the math there, 26 spots. So if we have more than 32 drivers, we will lock in 20, let's not carry the 9, 26, right? Is that correct? No, 24. We'll lock in 20, so everybody will have one run. Take the top 24 qualifying drivers, boom, they're in, locked and loaded. The remaining drivers will fill those last 8 spots. So could be 10 drivers, could be 12, whatever. So you're fighting for, it's kind of an LCQ, but the again, the final knockout, qualifying knockout. So it's going to be a cool format. If we have less than that, we'll lock in, I think it was, so still getting the 8. So it's and they'll go to another bracket. It's pretty cool. I'm excited because I think qualifying, as exciting as it is, and a lot of drivers flourish in that. And I hate saying about the show, but I think good competition will equate to a good show. So let's get to the essence of drifting, which is head-to-head competition. I mean,
so does that mean on qualifying day they'll be having battles actually? Okay.
No, we're actually going to do pro qualifying and pro spec qualifying, and then competition day. So on a Saturday, where we have Orlando, we have both pro and pro spec. We will see qualifying for both Pro Spec and Pro, and then going into game day on Saturday, all thrill or no filler, baby. We got Pro Spec competition head to head and potentially top 32 in Pro. And, you know, everybody wants to say like, oh, the car count's low or this. Just the caliber of build and driving and all these things is just absolutely progressed. So, you know, I not to say I miss James Dean. Some drivers don't miss James Dean because he's a threat. But I saw that he was behind the wheel of what I think I'm deducing here. I looked at it briefly. I think I saw him with Daigo. So I think
and some Russian, right? In the Russian, on the Russian team or
Yep. Yeah. So he's behind the wheel of a Supra, I think presented and built by Daigo. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Imagine Daigo and James Dean, and love to get them back over, you know, to the States, both those drivers when things are ready to open from.
Yeah. Daigo was planning on coming last season, and then, you know, COVID hit and the season went away. So he, you know, just shipped his car back, but it would have been really cool to see him back, you know. I would love to see him.
Yeah. I talked with Daigo at Gymkhana Grid, the last one we had in Poland. That was the last one we had, and he was really excited to come back and talked about just his program and where it's at. But then obviously there we are shortly thereafter, shutting her down. But yeah, man, I'm looking for things opening up. I mean, last year we were intended to have some Red Bull drift shifters, which is Mad Mike's project. I was intended to announce those internationally, and I always enjoy going to New Zealand.
Was that supposed to go do an international round?
Yeah, just COVID, and I don't know what was public knowledge there, but I think he announced one, but I'm just for the sake of not grenading somebody's program, you know,
that was a cool format too. I love that show. That would be fun to see.
Yeah.
You like that, James?
Yeah, with the point system, it was really handy how it was able to go on, but give you all like the unique twist you could do on it as well.
Yeah, it's like the pinball machine style scoring. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was
so
fun.
what do you think? Who do you think is going to come out on top this year for Formula Drift?
I was thinking to myself earlier today, and I knew kind of that's always a loaded question, or not loaded, but one that's kind of to be expected to be asked. Obviously, Vaughn, he's got confidence. He hasn't won the championship in 10 years, and in an abbreviated season, put it together with head-to-head, you know, weekends. That's, you know, you would think it'd be easier, but it's actually kind of more difficult. You're kind of exhausted after Saturday and then going to Sunday. To answer your question, I think Odie is he's just always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Exactly.
Gosh, damn it, Odie. Like he's right there. Like to quote his wife, Amy, "You got this, babe." So, you know, Odie's right there. I think Chelsea, just given he's seen the formula, his team has seen what works, and he has that. You know, he literally has the 11 tatted on his back. You know, Will Forsberg's engine program be more dialed, put together. I mean, not that it wasn't, but you know, and Freddie, talk about another bridesmaid. You know, can Freddie put it together? You know, debuting a car and doing that well on its maiden voyage is very, very impressive. So you got to think that the mad scientist, the Greek scientist that is Papadakis, is working on something, and Turk too. I mean, look at Turk in that Corolla, another season in that. That's drifting, man. You don't know who's going to show up, you know, Jekyll or Hyde.
Yeah, I mean, Turk was solid last year, you know, with the new car. You know, I hear you, man. Freddie came out and won the first event last year. How about some of the newer guys that maybe could surprise us? You know, you mentioned, you know, the regulars there, and I think Odie has a good chance. But how about some of the newer guys?
Yeah, I kind of want to look it up, just the drivers list, because I always, you know, you can go through them, and people always ask, you know, it's kind of like kids. You can't say, oh, you know, that's my favorite kid. The newer guys.
James, can you pull up the?
I'm just pulling it up now.
I'm looking at. I mean, Brandon Sorensen. He's coming in the mix. Dan Burkett. I'd really like him to just dial in his car. Seems like he's always battling something. Just his car is either stiff. Jeff Jones. I mean, talk about a driver that is absolutely just going for it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, Jeff Jones. Didn't he have the best season he's ever had last season? He did really well.
Yeah. You guys can still see me, right? Everything's good.
I can see
the best. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was another driver I was eager to see, is Kazuya Taguchi. Back, dude, the S15 just suits him well. I don't know if he's changing his car or not. Taguchi, or Taguchi, excuse me, but Gucci. I'd
Yeah.
really love for him to get dialed in a Supra.
Yeah.
He's kind of struggling a little bit, just getting that thing going. Who else? Yeah, I mean, that's Michael Essa. I mean, there's so many threats. And yeah, I'm just Dylan Hughes. Eager to see how his vehicle is going to set up. I was with Travis Reeder just a couple weekends ago in St. Louis. His new BMW build should be exciting. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or just confuses you even more, but
everyone, everyone,
yeah,
everyone has a chance though. It's that's the thing with
That's-
with drifting.
that is
Something
the
can
beauty.
happen. Someone can get knocked out, and you have these surprises every once in a while. Which venue are you looking forward to?
Atlanta, man, Atlanta every year. I'm interested to see this Lake Erie, see what happens with that. I'm not familiar with that venue. I heard it's cool, but I would say I always love going to Atlanta, and of course Monroe. Irwindale is always great, and Long Beach being at the end of the year could
It's gonna be
fare well
interesting.
because here I always think it's just so funny. Like, all right, guys, you've been working on your vehicle. Silly season's over. Let's just throw them right into the most difficult, unforgiving track ever, and potentially write off your car.
At the beginning of the season, right?
Right. Just go right into the Widowmaker. That is the streets of Long Beach.
Well, that's why a lot of those guys, I remember Darren McNamara was telling me once, he says he hates Long Beach because exactly what it is. You're coming out of off season and then you have to, it's the most narrowest, track ever. And, you can totally total your car, and that could be a season ending, accident right there. But hey, now this year it's in September. They moved the Grand Prix to September. They moved the IndyCar Series to September. So everybody had to move their schedules. So it'll be interesting. We'll have back-to-back, Long Beach and Irwindale at the end of the Formula Drift season. So that should be an interesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Logistically, schedule-wise, just back to back. You're seeing right there, September 17th, 18th, and then finale Irwindale, and then that should be pretty rad. The Erie one is interesting. I want to see what layout we do for St. Louis. I know a lot of people hated that track last year. I thought it was kind of the flow. I think a lot of the drivers were let down because the previous year. 2 years ago, it was really fast and one of the fastest, just this big fluid, almost like a J style track. That's,
St.
Atlanta's
Louis
my favorite.
was kind of slow. I felt St. Louis, it made the flow a little slow in St. Louis last year.
Yeah, go ahead, Rip, slow down. E-Town, duh. Yeah, E-Town, man. Absolutely eager to go to E-Town. That was a good roll of tongue there. Eager to go to E-Town, that's what it is. Because they built the first ever American drift stadium. I mean, with Englishtown Raceway Park being just iconic for drag racing, and drag racing kind of seen, I don't know, I've heard a couple different stories. Regardless, that venue being paved left to right, it's just a big slab of pavement with the bleachers on either side. You still keep that drag tower. So for a sensational standpoint, I've already seen drifting there coming through the tunnel. Dude, that's going to be sick with like FD cars echoing through E-Town. It's going to be rad.
Yeah, that should be pretty awesome.
Orlando, the track is just the track is a little rough. First of all, like the grit of the sandpaper that is the surface, and it's just hot. So all of those elements combined, it's not my favorite track to go. I love the fans there in Orlando. It has great, rich drifting history, OSW. I'd love to see them go to Freedom Factory, and I kind of teased that, and I know they were talking about it, but it comes down to finding the right number, making sure it makes monetary sense. And, Formula Drift, their ideal, if they could have Irwindale's 8, but obviously different ones, a variety of Irwindale and Atlanta, that's the ideal scenario.
Yeah. A little off topic before we let you go. What do you think about, since we're talking about Formula Drift, Jim Lau from Formula Drift, running for board of directors for the SEMA, for SEMA. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, right? I mean, a lot of people have tried and haven't been able to get through. Right.
Yeah, so Jim running for the board, SEMA Board of Directors, SEMA Specialty Equipment Market Association, the basically aftermarket association that fights for, rights of vehicle owners and companies and legalities and, different acts, and going to Congress and talking to on a political level, not just making cool whiz bang stuff from exhaust intakes and all that. But yeah, Jim Lau running for that, I think, is absolutely tremendous. Rightfully so. The gentleman has seen the progression of, what we would call as import tuners to sport compacts to now just being cars. It's really just, it's not a niche anymore. It's an absolute institution and a pillar. So having that perspective of Jim Lau and seeing his different, influences in import scene to, import drag racing to hot import nights, seeing the different demographics and as they grow and progress, and maintaining that, and also working in and coinciding with a new school of thought, from being okay with, electric vehicles and being, obviously we want to take care of the world, but we want to take care of, the sport that is motorsport. So I think Jim Lau is an absolute fantastic candidate to have some insight for SEMA as an organization. So you got my vote, Jim Lau.
Vote for Jim.
Vote for Jim. Lau 2021. Let's go, baby. And every company only gets one vote. So it does really count. And
it does.
I mean, I reposted it if it's any consolation, Jim. So I obviously pulled for you, bud.
It's
I like
very,
Ian,
very important.
Ian's a good dude. And I mean, there's a lot of great candidates, but somebody that speaks to obviously my essence and my perspective, Jim Lau gets my vote.
Yeah, I think there's, we really haven't had representation from, especially coming from like import, racing and expanding out to drifting and like, performance and motorsports. There, I think they could use a guy like Jim, coming from this world. And
no, it's on time. And again, it's not just drifting. It is the equity and the history that Jim has had as a relationship with the SEMA organization, as well as all things that SEMA includes, which is everything from doing drift demos with SEMA, doing the drift stuff at SEMA Ignited now. It is, obviously speaking to his current situation of being president and co-founder of Formula Drift and working with multiple companies. If it was Mazda back in the day, Mazda was a big stake as far as Slipstream global marketing. And that's how Jim and Ryan initially started. And they, brought D1 to the States. And, I'm sure he elaborated on his story. So go and listen to the Jim Lau episode of Pod Speed with Taro, James, and Sam. I'm Jared Diendo. See you guys. See you last thing. But yeah, he'd be a great asset.
Yeah. Well, Jared, thanks for. Hey, tell us what is happening. What's coming up for you besides Formula Drift? What you got going on?
Let me check my schedule. You got Grid Life going right now. Grid Life is absolutely a fantastic project. The Grid Life branding is fantastic. I introduced Ryan and Jim to Chris Stewart of Grid Life, and it's great. He's done a great job. But take a look at the schedule. Working on Hot Wheels Legends. Got multiple digital stops of that. Proudly hosting that with different guests such as TJ Hunt this Thursday. Hosting online content for Snap-on Tools, but that's more post stuff, edited videos. Formula Drift, of course, kicking off Road Atlanta. That's going down May 7th and 8th on my wife's birthday. So I'll be out in Atlanta once again, and Mother's Day flying home. But FD potentially going to Indy 500 with the company. I'm golfing a lot. Listen to my podcast. I'm going on a vacation with my family finally. But actually, supposedly I'm going to be announcing that I haven't gotten an email in a while, but I'll be calling the FIA IDC from Orlando, which is hosted in Riga, Latvia this year. But I was hoping to go to Goodwood, but I think there's a conflict there. But yeah, man, just trying to stay busy and enjoy my downtime. And yeah, man, don't forget to tip your waitress. Listen to my podcast, Beer with Jared D. I don't know, man, just whatever. Follow me on IG. I'm random, bro. You know me. I'm all over the place.
You are everywhere.
No, it's fun.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, James, Sam, if you guys don't have anything else.
I was just hoping that Jared would plug Harley Davidson before he goes.
Yeah, I hosted online content with Harley, and it's been a fantastic company. I know their company and their culture really just shut down when COVID hit. The Juneau Ave, which is the Harley Davidson U.S. and world headquarters, they really locked it down, kicked everybody out of the building, said we just can't risk it, so everybody go home, work from home, and they safely did it. But shout out to Jake and multiple different homies there at Harley Davidson looking to get back and work with the Bar and Shield, man. It's a really cool company to work with, and just talk about progression. The Live Wire, the Pan America, like all the bikes that they're doing, they're really trying to shift an old. Sorry, let me digress. They're trying to shift the mentality of a very established brand into a new day consumer, which I think is progressive. But even a video they dropped today, all about the iconic bikes. Yeah, baby, let's go vintage with that EK, with that Wings West Aggressor body kit.
Old school,
baby. Oh gosh, that car saw so many different iterations. And I got an MB Motoring drag race front end on that thing, shaved the door handles, but didn't have enough money to get the poppers. So I'd have to leave the window cracked. But mind you, I lived in San Diego, so I just reach in, not a big deal. But when it rained, I had a full cage. I'd have to go through the trunk. So it was like military training. So my big old fat badunkadunk had to go through the cage and go to the front seat. So, but yeah, man, Harley's a really great brand to work with. And so coincidentally, James, I will tell you that even though I'm hosting a lot of videos, you could look it up. A video that I always use for reference is the Harley Davidson Coastal Styles a couple years ago. It talks about, quarter fairings and different, bars and grips and risers. I've never ridden a Harley Davidson in my life. And I will openly say that, but right before COVID, I was scheduled to go do the Harley Davidson Riding Academy. And we were basically going to document it. And the Riding Academy is at Harley Davidson dealerships across the country and the world. But my whole concept was basically like Goldilocks, and the Three Bears, but I'm the Goldilocks and the beds are Harley Davidson's. This one's too small. This one's too big. This one's just right. And then go through the progression of being 42 years old, 40 plus with 2 kids and learning that you can ride safely, you can ride educated, know the rules of the road, and you can have a relationship with, a freedom machine that is a Harley Davidson.
That sounds really cool. You've got the looks for it. I mean, you should go get.
The people at Harley Davidson, the people at Harley, I'd walk in and meet them, and like Lomenzo and Ryan. These are Harley dudes.
So what do you ride?
Yeah, they go, "What do you ride?" I'm like, "Yeah,
a Civic."
I don't ride, but this is their comeback. They're like, "Wait, what? You look like you rode a bike out of the womb." So, yeah, I'm looking forward to, again, the Bar and Shield, really cool brand, and I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, Jared, well, thanks for spending I know you're a busy guy, and thanks for spending your afternoon with us. Good luck to you. Congratulations on your career. I love, following you, watching you progress, become everything now, Mr. Voice of not just drifting, but all kinds of action motorsports, and not just motorsports, right? I mean, you do everything now. So congratulations. And
Jared, we need to hit the links too, Jared. I've been playing a lot of myself, man.
Yeah,
but, I would love to hear the voice of drift, the voice of Formula D, actually narrate or announce a golf event. You would be awesome on the Masters.
Oh, dude, I am so in. Funny story, Sam. I don't know how old you are or whatever, but if you know,
I'm ancient, dude.
Okay, all right. Well, you look great, man.
Oh, thank you.
He doesn't look a day below 70. It's what we always tell him.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Keep it creepy, Sam. Keep it creepy. Or James for saying that. That sounded really weird. But my grandpa, unfortunately, who passed away last year, but his plane, I always talk about his plane on my arm, but he was a World War II fighter pilot. But when he got married to my grandma, what would have been 77 years ago, they celebrated 76 years of marriage. His best man was a great near dear friend until he passed away, Lynn Maltby. And if you know golfing at all, Lynn Maltby's son is Roger Maltby, and Roger Maltby is an iconic golf presenter and announcer. Is
Roger still around?
Yeah,
because you hear him on. Yeah, he's like a sideline reporter for the.
Exactly. And he's the guy that actually coined the "We're here on 18." Tiger Woods with the putt. He was the dude that made
Very
the
good. You're the man.
whisper golf announcing. So
Oh,
we
okay.
have still yet to meet, and I mean, he's getting older. I'm not saying, you know, he's leaving us anytime soon, but I still have yet to meet him. And I think if I work my cards right, Roger Maltby hit me up because I'd love to go to the Masters in 2022. Let's go.
Hey man, he might be avoiding you because he wants his job still, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, just say this for me before we let you go. Is a tradition like no other.
A tradition like no other.
Perfect. That's the theme for the Masters. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Okay.
Tradition
All right.
like no other.
Very good. All right, man.
All right.
Thanks,
You got
Jared.
it, man.
Thanks,
All right,
Jared.
Thanks.
Send
Thanks for joining us.
it. Pod speed.
Oh
Yay.
yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Send it. Okay.
Making sure we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
You can drop off whenever you want to,
Yeah.
Jared. No pressure.
All right, guys. I really
All right.
appreciate it.
Cheers.
I'm out
Thanks,
of here.
Cheers.
Adios.
Okay. Wow, that was a great one. He just spoke the whole time. I love
That was a fun
announcers.
one. That was an easy one because he spoke the whole time.
Yeah.
I told you, Taro. Look, you come for me for guests. I try and bring you the best guests.
I did.
James,
ask
you are the man.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do? Who's going next?
Taro, you go first.
Oh, I think Sam should go.
All
You want me
right.
to go next?
We've got a lot of news, car news this past couple of weeks, don't we? We should cover those.
Well, I got my I have a scoop thing, so I'll start with the scoop thing, and then
Yeah, let's do the
Tara,
scoop.
if you have covered, a lot of card news, you could go with those. Okay, so my scoop news is
I don't have anything actually.
I like
you're
Tara
just-
leads.
oh,
I
you're
like Tara
just
leads in
building
with
us
this.
up.
There's
You're just-
so much stuff. You
I
guys have got so much to cover.
Yeah.
I've never seen so much news come through,
I'm just
but
like,
I've got
what,
nothing.
was there so much news? I'm thinking, there was a Formula One race, but that's James usually. The crazy MG concept car, oh, that's James again. Taro, what? I'm going. Wow, what does Taro have?
I leave the news up to you guys.
He's a designator.
I'm just
He's
here
like
to like
team
listen.
manager. You get
I'm
that.
listen- Yeah, I'm here to listen to all the great news that you guys.
Oh Jesus!
I've got
Into the show.
your scoops queued up, Sam, ready to go.
All right. Well, anyways, just in case, I think it's been on the internet a little bit, but Toyota is really upping their performance game of late. As you know, it's because maybe there's all this Nissan Z, buzz, everywhere we've gone for the last 2-3 months. So I think Toyota's like saying, hey man, don't forget about us. And it seems like the Supra's kind of taking a back seat to the Z. But with the Yaris GR, which unfortunately we don't get here, Toyota is following that up with the Corolla Sports GR, and our Ninja Otakus tell us that this car is a go. As you guys all know by now, hopefully, that GR stands for Gazoo Racing or Gazoo Racing, which is Toyota's high performance brand of late. And the Corolla Sports GR will pack a huge punch, very similar to the Yaris GR, because it's coming with the Yaris GR's turbocharged inline 3. So you can expect that thing to deliver at least 300 horsepower.
Can we expand this picture a little bit?
I can, but I'll just swap my way to go. Bear with me one moment.
So small.
Well, I have to deal with what I've got.
Sorry, that might have been the only.
Sam gave him a 150 by 150
well,
pixel.
These are
I mean, I don't want to name names, Tara, but it is very pixelated when we get up close.
They come from the Ninja Otaku folders.
Exactly.
There we go. There we go.
So this of course, the Corolla Sports GR will get 4-wheel drive, probably the same all-wheel drive system as the Yaris GR. And the Yaris GR is pretty much a homologation model for the Toyota's WRC World Rally Championship car.
That might not ever exist, but yes.
Yeah, that might never exist, but hopefully it will. But the Corolla Sports GR will play the role of the ultimate hot hatchback for the road. So not too much race tie in there. This thing is just for the road for boy racers or hot foots everywhere. And
You
yes,
mean like me?
go ahead. Oh, like
Like-
you?
Yeah, for me.
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
fine
like
car.
you. And yeah, it's all-wheel drive, so you have less chance of spinning. And then, yes, this is a hot hatchback. This is a hatchback. So
I agree.
yeah, I consider this a hatchback. So, no rally-inspired theme for this, for the Corolla Sports GR. So, with that said, I'm thinking there's a good chance this car will make it to the States. But then, we usually don't get a lot of the cool cars here. So
And
we
this is
don't know yet.
official in the US? This is official already?
I don't
in
think
Japan?
so.
In Japan?
In Japan, yeah. Well, our Ninja Otaku say it's
It's
a go.
official.
So, well, they say it's official. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but as you can see from the best cars imagery, the body's going to be pretty pumped up with flare fenders, a low
Mhm.
wide stance. Our Ninja Otaku say this car will make its debut in Japan next summer of 2022, and the reported price tag is $50,000. So I'm asking you guys. So what do you think? You think Subaru should be worried? Is this treading on WRX STI territory here? Even
I
though
think
the
it's
WRX
treading-
STI is is rally inspired, but this one, even though Toyota's not really giving it the rally,
Well,
inspired thing,
doesn't it overlap with the Yaris territory though?
it's a little bigger, right? It's a little bigger.
Yeah,
than
it's
us,
a little
so,
bigger, but
yeah.
it's four-wheel drive.
Oh
and
my God, yeah, it's almost a Yaris in another body, to tell you
Yeah.
the truth, the GR, yeah. So, but this one's going to be more. I think it's going to be a little more readily available, more production. But that's what we're hearing from our otakus.
I mean, if
Thoughts?
this thing comes out, I think it's going to be a pretty strong statement from Toyota, right?
And
I mean,
yeah, and Taro, really think about it. If the Yaris GR is not available here or Europe, right? I mean, they're making it available. But I don't know if it's available in Europe or not, but it's not coming here for sure.
yeah.
I mean, this could be an more international model, something for the North American market, which will be cool.
Sam, yeah. So the Yaris is in Europe. You can get it in the UK.
Okay, so UK always gets a lot of the cars that other people don't get from Japan.
Yeah, so it's in Australia, New Zealand, and it's in Europe.
Right. Yeah, the right-hand drive.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes it easy. But I think that, I'm still not sure if this one will come across the pond or across the ocean, I will say, to make it over here. I have a feeling it might not if it does get confirmed.
Yeah. Might
But
not.
I also don't think that it'd be $50,000 if it came out. I think it'd be cheaper. I think
In
that,
Japan, they're forecasting the equivalence of $50,000, not 50,000 pounds, but $50,000.
yeah, but no, I could certainly see at that price point and being more expensive, obviously, in Europe and Australia. But I think if it came here, I think obviously it's competing against the like of, say, the Type R Civic is where it's really ballpark figure is going to be going for. So I think it has to be coming in at a lower price point than that.
Okay, so you don't think the WRX XTI, because Subaru and Toyota are so connected, I don't think they'd be trying to outdo each other. So
Well, I think that the WRX, when was the last WX really last updated of any sorts?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think it's competing at all in these two. I think based on what I've seen of all the footage of the Yaris is incredible. And I think that this would be leaps and shoulders above the WRX,
okay.
even with the switch, the 2.5 liter engine kind of thing or whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. With the WRX will. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this would be smaller. This would be lighter. The engine's half the size. Just as much horsepower.
Yeah.
This looks great. Obviously, it sort of fits in with without the wide body kit in the front bonnet. It looks kind of like the Nightshade model they sell here.
Mhm.
It'd be really transferable. I don't see it being. It's a different chassis. I think when the two between the Corolla and the Yaris, it's a step up in the architecture. But I could quite easily see them do it, kind of thing.
Yeah. So cool. So that's the news from across the other pond, the Pacific Ocean, from Japan. So I think Toyota's kind of getting serious about that with their Gazoo Racing, and I think that's all because of Akio Toyota, who's the kind of architect of all this, and that's where the Gazoo name comes from. When he started his website for the company, and he's kept it's a little sentimental thing that he's kept, and it's become Gazoo Racing. So very interesting. So cool. For next, do we want to go hit the next 5 of my top 50?
Let's talk about what you talk about the Olympics, Sam, because I've got that queued up for us.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Sorry.
Oh yeah. See, that's a lot. That's new news as well.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh, geez, Taro. Geez. Yeah, nice for you. Just kick back and just let us do all the work. So, anyways, the International
producer.
the IOC has announced, which is really kind of cool, a new series of virtual sporting events, dude. It's virtual.
This
So
is huge, though.
Yeah,
This is
even
huge.
the Olympics is going virtual.
Yeah.
And dude, what that it's IOC is partnering 5 international sports federations to host virtual competitions and games featuring their sports, right? And yes, one of them, the FIA, will host a Gran Turismo competition in the Olympics. So this marks, guys, the first time any racing or motor event is in the Olympics. Okay, yes, it's virtual, but it's very cool, and
it's huge.
I think it's pretty huge. I think it's pretty groundbreaking. I did mention 5 sporting events, and the other ones are cycling. Okay, so it's gonna. I think it's called Zwift is what their virtual cycling thing is. The other is baseball. Okay, and it's going to use Konami's eBaseball Powerful Pro Baseball game. The other one's sailing, and the other one is rowing. So those 5 sports, motorsports, racing, car racing, bicycle racing, baseball, softball, sailing, and rowing. Those are the virtual events that's going to happen in the Olympic Virtual Series. So we still don't know who's going to be competing, and which events will happen when. But stay tuned for more details, they say. So
well, it's supposed to happen before the Summer Olympics are scheduled to take place in late.
Is that what they
July.
said? I didn't
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I read in the article. It's supposed to happen until, so it should be announced.
Oh yeah, no,
soon.
you're right. It's happening next month. So May 13th through June 23rd. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, it's happening in that 3 weeks period, but we don't know which events are going to happen in between those periods. Yeah,
right.
So yeah, it starts on May 13th. So we're talking in a couple weeks. So that's going to be really cool. So we will report on what's going on with the Gran Turismo end of things.
So does do the players? Obviously, they're going to be competing virtually, so from the comfort of their own living room or whatever.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's the whole idea, I think. Yeah.
But I don't know. We don't really know yet. But probably.
I wonder if their medals are going to be the same as the ones that they're going to be handing out in the actual Olympics. In
Tokyo Olympics. We don't know that either. I mean, this is just a little, photo kind of thing that was made for this story, but yeah.
I mean, it's got to be a worldwide thing, right? Because Gran Turismo's done it before with all of their
FIA
championships in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's going to be like a concentrated version of that's going to take place during that limited time that they have. But this is huge. This is really,
who would have known
huge.
If I would have just kept playing games instead of reading books and studying, I could have been an Olympic athlete. Damn it.
And Sam, will this be which Gran Turismo version will they be using for the competition?
Well, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be 7. I don't know, to tell you the truth. I'm guessing it's going to be Gran Turismo Sport, but I don't know. Just because it's been tried and tested and done for the last few years. I think it would be risky for them to,
I just wanted to know
if it's ready, if GT7 is ready or not. We don't know. So
I just didn't know if they were going to throw it in the last minute, like in that acclaimed motion picture with Fred Savage, the Wizard, where they drop Super Mario 3, for example, and throw out a quick level or a racetrack for Gran Turismo 7. I mean, that might happen. There's always that possibility.
Anything is possible, James.
I mean, I know you're a big Fred Savage fan. Sam. So I just wanted to.
Is that the
sure.
Wonder Years guy? Is that Fred Savage?
The one and only
Okay, right. Okay. Yeah,
Sam Matani.
thank you. So,
So
anyways, yeah. So that's the deal. So you guys be on the lookout for more news. May 13th or 14th was it? That they're gonna begin. So
should we count down to your?
Sam Matani will be covering this event.
yeah. I'll cover it on.
So they haven't contacted you about any this stuff yet?
No, not yet. It just
Really?
kind of broke. So yeah.
Mhm.
So I think everyone's kind of,
Waiting to
getting
see what
everything
happens.
ready. Yeah, I think they're really busy getting things ready. So
We have to contact our otaku ninjas within Sony to see if we can get some information on this event.
yes, we do. I'm in touch with them all the time. So
Maybe there could be those same otaku ninjas that can help me get that PS5, Taro and Sam. Those ones as well.
I don't even know what you're talking PS5. So, anyways, okay. So what next?
Top 50, Sam. Shall I go call through the list again? Is that what you'd like me to do?
Would you like to go through the list? Yeah, that
Of
would be
course.
great, Dave.
Let's
Have
do it
you
real quick.
have your wonderful British accent go through this
From
list?
where are we from 50 to
Yeah, let's go down to
40
50.
we've done, right?
No, 45 is where we're going to start today.
No. 35 is where we're
Oh,
starting.
so yes, 35 is where we got
Yeah,
to
so
last.
we're
So
making
36
way
is where
through.
we finished off. So 35 is we're going to start again.
So number 50, go through number 50 and all that.
Real
fun
quick.
thing.
Sure. I'm just going to pull it all up, share the screen again, Sam, so we're good to go.
Okay.
So at number 50, we have the Toyota Celica Coupe A20, A30, not a hatchback. At 49, we have the Honda CRZ,
CRZ.
Yeah. And
or
coupe,
maybe CRZ to our American friends.
that's right.
48, the Suzuki Swift Sport.
Fine little car.
47, the Lexus RCF, which you'll hear more of later today.
Oh, wonderful.
The Mitsubishi FTO comes in at number 46. At 45, it's the Honda Beat. 44, the Honda bracket Acura Integra.
Thank you for the bracket.
43 is the Toyota Supra, better known as the A70.
A70 version, yeah.
42 is the Subaru SVX.
Subaru here in the US.
Mhm.
At 41, we have the Honda Civic Type R FD2. 40 is the Infiniti G Coupe or Q60. 39 is the Mazda RX-8. 38 is the Toyota GR Yaris. 37, the FC Mazda RX-7. And where we finished last time was 36 with
The Z.
Nissan 350, 370, soon to be whatever it is. Zetka.
Z prototype.
Taro, you're a little surprised that this came in at this low, right? This
I
low.
was.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there are other people put it up somewhere, but okay.
This
So let's
is
go to-
Sam's list though.
This is my
we
list.
had
And
absolutely
guys,
no input
Yeah,
on
exactly.
creating this list.
Yeah, that's right. There should be a little.
Happens.
You guys should put a little a message there
Disclaimer.
saying, disclaimer saying,
Any
my
questions?
opinions only.
Any
Right.
questions about who doesn't like this list, please direct them to Sam Matani.
Exactly.
Any questions about what is and what is a
Sure.
hatchback, please
Right.
direct them to Sam Matani because he is wrong about what a hatchback is.
but-
This
Oh,
list
no,
does
no,
not represent Pod Speed's view.
Oh, yes, it does. No, we are Potsby. Go on.
No, it
But
represents
You got to
Sam
remember. You got to
Matani.
remember. I do consider as one of my categories that where I pick these is historical significance, right? So where are they historically, significant in?
Well, that's kind of why I think the 36 Nissan 350 and 370Z was a little low.
Okay, no, that's all right. That's totally fair. I mean,
my
I
opinion.
could totally understand what you're saying too. So, but I had to rank them somehow. So
Sure.
And he
anyway,
just takes your ideas, Taro, and discards them to the side, is what Sam is saying.
no,
He doesn't listen to me at all anyway, so what's
Oh,
my
what are you
point
talking about? I
saying?
listen to you a lot. Okay, so
All right,
anyways,
35.
number 35 is the Toyota MR2, the W10, the first generation one. The one that people say looks like a transformer car. And the
does.
reason I really like this car when it came out is this was really a, you know, a car that really felt, and I actually drove it, you know, when I was at Road and Track. It came out it came out, oh no, it ended right before I joined Road and Track, but I was able to drive it, and it was really just a hoot to drive. Not very powerful, only had like 112 horsepower. I think other countries had 130 horsepower. It wasn't turbocharged, but, and what it do, like 0 to 60 in like what, 8 seconds, you know, now almost 9 seconds, but it was really fun to drive. And yeah, the looks, I wasn't, you know, it looked like back then it was, you know, the Transformers, looked like it was gonna like one of the Transformer cars, you know, something that comes out in the Japanese anime or something. But this thing was really cool. In 1988, for the US market, there was a supercharged engine for this car. So, and that, you know, brought horsepower up to 145 horsepower. And that's the car I would, you know, put here in this category. So number 35 is the Toma Air R2. And you guys are probably a little too young to remember this car, correct?
Oh, I remember this car.
Do you?
I remember this car.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Okay.
I was in,
Did you guys, what did you
like in
guys, okay, what
college.
did you guys think when you guys, I mean, did it cross your radar or?
Oh, it totally did. I loved the look of this car.
Oh,
when
you
it
did?
came out. Yeah, yeah.
Little
Yeah, I liked it.
two-seater.
It was a little compact, so I never thought about like actually like owning one.
Mhm.
But no, I totally remember this car, and there were a lot of them driving around Tokyo. I remember at the time.
Oh, were they? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. In
yeah.
Japan,
I
they were
saw
popular, huh?
a lot of them. Yeah,
Oh,
actually
okay, so
saw a
you
lot
were
of them.
Japan with us. That's cool.
So this car is very popular with Nigel McKeon. He's a big fan of this vehicle.
I
I
love it.
like, there's two main things that I like about this. I really, really enjoy the name of this vehicle. It's the mid-engine recreational two-seater.
That's
And
right.
they decided to just shorten it. I don't understand why. I thought that would have been a great car name to go with. Toyota mid-engine
Mhm.
two-seater recreational. Would have just rolls off the tongue in any dealership. I also like the fact that this, on the aftermarket side, came with a twin charger. So it was supercharged and turbocharged on the aftermarket, which I thought was great.
That's true. That's true. You remember it well. I'm impressed. And one of my dear friends who's passed away a few years ago, who's to me Mr. Lotus, after of course Colin Chapman and all that, is Mr. Roger Becker, who was one of the engineers there, and he was a dear friend of mine. While he was with Lotus, Lotus helped with the suspension tuning of this car. So. That's another reason why it handled so well. And yes, it was rear wheel drive. So yeah.
Did you get to drive this car on the track or just around the?
No, just
around
yeah, I didn't get to drive this one on the track. So yeah, I was still So but with that 145 horsepower engine, it's 0 to 60 went from like, what was it, like almost 9 seconds to 6.5. So it became kind of a zippy rocket, and it sets the stage for the second generation MR2, which I really like too. So so this is the W10. This is the one that started it all, and I think it was really cool of Toyota to kind of take the risk to make a 2-seat quick little lightweight compact sports car like this. It's a 2-seater, and that's why it is at number 35.
Yeah, this is the golden age of Japanese sports cars, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, they had the Japanese economy was booming, and there was the big bubble, and the companies just had a lot of money to do the things that they wanted to do, and let their designers have fun, and come out with like really interesting concepes.
Yeah, the Hachiroku, the first Hachiroku was kind of like that too. It wasn't like a perfect car, but dude, rear wheel drive, the way it drove, and so that's just, and hopefully Toyota's coming back to that, especially with the CRS GR and the Corolla GR that we're talking about. So okay, so now going to number 34, we have a classic, and I hope you guys don't remember this car because it is way before our time.
I was going to say, isn't this around your time, Sam?
No, it's before my time. So, anyways, this is the Honda.
You were already born though.
Let's see, 1966. Maybe not. I don't know. But so with the Honda S600, And there was the S800 too. I just kind of clumped it together. And there really is this Honda S500 also, which was introduced a year before. But I put in the S600 because it was the one I've seen. And I actually drove this a long time ago, I think at Motegi, so which was really cool.
When you say you drove it a long time ago, a long time, is that when it was released, Sam? Is that what you mean by a long time ago?
In 1972?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Or 71? Is that what you say?
It was a classic vintage car. Nope. So anyways. So this car, it's kind of, I would say, hey, Tara, wouldn't you say this would be, and James, wouldn't you guys say this would be the kind of the predecessor to the S2000?
Of course. Of course.
Is this the S600? Is this the one that has the motorcycle setup of sorts?
What do you mean?
It's kind of based on with the engine layout kind of thing, where it's sort of driven that way, or am I getting it mixed up with another Honda?
It could be the S500 you're talking about, but why I chose the S600 instead of the S500 was the S600 was the first mass marketed Honda car ever, and it was the first offered only in right-hand drive. So and then it became available in left-hand drive afterwards, right? So that's why, to me, it's historically significant.
But it's only historically significant to put it up at 34, right, Sam? It's not more historically significant to go higher.
Well, there's so many cars in this, but Honda built 3,900 of these cars in '64 and built 7,200 later. So, I mean, in '65. So the S600 became a really popular car. And if you ask me, this is the car, and I do agree with you, James. I don't know if it's officially it, but really kind of took their motorcycle, sporty motorcycle knowledge into cars, and really set the stage for Honda sports cars to come. So, and then in 1966, I think they brought out the S800, which is the car you see in this photo, and that production continued all the way to 1970. So it's very, very, very historically significant car, very cool car. Tara, did you, or James too, have you guys been to Motegi and seen this car, or have you guys seen this car in the flesh?
Yeah,
I've seen one in the flesh, but I haven't been and seen. I haven't had the chance to drive it at Motegi, Sam. Like you, you're showing off just again, rubbing it in.
I've never driven one, but I've seen several of them. Interesting story. We went to the little island off of Vancouver. Victoria Island or something like that in Canada.
I don't know what on earth were you doing there?
Well, there's a Mercedes SL restorer guy up there that we went to cover for a Japanese magazine a couple of years ago, and he had a nice collection of cars, and he had a beautiful like 3 of these things, like S800s in his garage. And I remember seeing it, and it was like in mint condition, and it was the best looking, S800 I've ever seen. I've seen a couple like in Japan at like tracks and stuff like that, but this was like in like perfect condition, and it was beautiful.
Wow,
it was random finding, and I was like, man, I wish I could just take it home with me, but couldn't. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you find these things sometimes, and they're great little cars. I love them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the next car is an odd car, but if you ask me, it's pretty historically significant. At number 33, we have the Toyota Sports 800, which I think is a really odd. It's an odd looking car. And it's an odd car in general to me, but it is a sports car, and I kind of dig it because it is odd, and it is revolutionary in a few respects. It is front engine and rear wheel drive, and as you can see, this car, I think it came out before the Porsche 911 Targa Top. I think this was the very first Targa Top car ever. I'm not sure, but I think it is. So
really,
didn't
we see one of these at the Peterson when they had the Japanese car?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, and the Sports 800, among us car nerds and stuff, we call it the Yota Hachi.
Mhm.
And the reason is Toyota's Yota, right? And then the 800 is Hachi is 8. So the Yota Hachi, and what powered this car was another really, really oddball engine. It was a 790 cc boxer engine. So it's a flat engine, 2-cylinder, and very small, and it produced maybe about 50 horsepower, 45, 50 horsepower, something like that. So not very powerful, but it really, it was very, very light. It's like 1,200 pounds. So it was very light. So, and as you can see, it came out in 1965. So it's very, very old car. And if you ask me, again, this car may have kind of set the stage, even looks wise, with the 2000 GT, right? The Toyota 2000 GT, which came out a few years later, I think, and it has the kind of the same, headlight placement and all that. Of course, the 2000 GT is much bigger, much more solid of a car, but the Yota 800, I think, is one of those cars that's going to be historically remembered. Comments? I know these cars are a little too old for you guys.
Well, Taro's on mute, so we can't hear what Taro is saying. But I
Oh,
think,
yeah, we
What are
do.
you muting for?
Well, we did. I was just like looking for the video that we shot
Oh,
at the
you did,
Peterson.
okay.
But we did find this car and we did shoot this car.
Oh, we did? Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I remember.
Yeah, well, you saw it in the flesh. What did you think?
I mean,
It's
you're right.
very small.
It is an odd looking car. It is an odd looking car.
Do you guys like how it looks, or do you
Yeah. I mean, it's once you get down to this like in the 60s, I mean, it can look pretty odd, but the oddness is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I can see, the Targa could have been, this Targa could have been the first one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah, I don't know if the car's so small. I don't know if you could stow the Targa in a trunk or anything. You might have to leave it.
If anyone knows, leave comments, please.
So, and what about you, James?
I mean, I think I don't think it's that odd. I think it takes a lot of the styling cues from maybe another Toyota sports car that's probably a bit more famous, but makes it to sort of make it more of a mass market appeal where they're able to take some aspects of that to bring it down. So maybe one that James Bond drove.
Yeah, I
said inspiration to this. Yeah. So I think that sort of takes some of those styling cues and sort of reimagines it a little bit, and then takes some examples, especially where, let's be honest, where they're probably taken from small English sports car styling.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's where you see the front of it kind of sort of bring it in like it's a little happy face there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's cool.
Predecessor to the 86.
Well, I would say the MR2. I mean, it's the MR2s for the 1960s. To me, the Yota Hachi. But it's always been one of my quirky, oddball favorite kind of cars. So that's why it made the list at 30.
And Taro, he likes this one much more than the Honda. That's why it's 33 and not 34.
Oh, you mean the S? Yeah, I mean the Honda. Yeah, guys, these are so hard to rank. But
look, Sam, you ranked them though. That's all you. Should we go to 32?
Right. Number 32.
Number 32.
Yes, we are bringing it up to the modern ages now.
Oh,
number 32.
I don't know why this car is ranked so high.
Oh man, wow! It's a little shade coming from Taro.
I just really like that old Sam's spoken about this as terrible things, and now it's coming at 32.
What are you talking about? Well,
whenever we've talked about this car, you always give it thumbs down. I'm the only one that gives it thumbs up.
Dude, but it's a pure sports car. It's hybrid. It's pretty revolutionary. Yes, I don't like it as much as the original, but I mean, it deserves to be on this list. I mean, come on, man. We got like a 600 horsepower, all-wheel drive sports car. You got to give it some credit here. So that's why it's here at number 32. It could, when you think about a 600 horsepower sports car, you would think it'd be much higher in the list of Japanese sports cars, but I put it here. I mean, come on, man. 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine and an electric powertrain, their revolutionary SH all-wheel drive, drivetrain. So 9-speed dual clutch transmission. So come on, man. Come on, man. Give it some love. Taro, James,
this is what I tell you every time, Sam, and you're like, no, I don't like it. No.
Well, yeah, I don't like the
no, I don't
styling
like
that
it.
much. Okay,
That's
all right,
it,
James,
see.
you go first.
I like this car. Obviously, I think it's what everyone asks for. Everyone says I'd like Honda to make a fast sports car like the NSX they make one. Everyone's like, oh, I don't like it. It's not as good as the old one. But I'm like, what do you want? It's 600 horsepower. It looks like an exotic car. It goes really fast. Exactly. It's all-wheel drive handling. What do you want? That should have been better. But they wanted it. They've delivered it, and now you complain, pants. I like it.
No, it's on the list.
If it's good enough for Iron Man, it's good enough for the people.
That's true. Iron Man did drive it. Taro actually gave it some shade. He didn't even. He can't believe this thing is in front of the Z.
I don't think Taro can believe it's on the list. To be honest,
exactly.
What are we talking about now? What car are we talking about?
Oh, come on, Taro.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, number 32. Yeah, number 32 is okay. It's a good place for this car to be.
Wow, I don't know if that's good or bad. What's oh my God. But you're not a big fan of this car.
No, I'm just not a fan of this car.
Oh, what he's basically saying, Sam, is that he doesn't want me to give a review of this car because he's saying things to Acura that Acura is not going to want to give me this car to take out for a drive when I love it so much.
Well, I mean, it's as a actually, I don't hate the design too much of this car, though.
What don't you like about it?
It's just, well, you called it a pure sports car. I just don't think it's a pure sports car.
Well, I mean, it depends on what your definition of a pure sports car is. It's a sports car, so
yeah. I mean it is. I guess
it's a hybrid, so that's really not pure. It's a hybrid. I mean,
is this a hatchback, Sam, or is this not a hatchback?
Oh God, no, it's not a hatchback. My God.
Okay, next.
Okay, yeah. Moving on. Number 31 is what we would call the predecessor to the Z car, which is
what they call the Datsun Roadster.
Yeah, Datsun Roadster. They call it the Roadster. They made it in a coupe form too, to let you know. But there was also before this there was a Sports 1000, right, as like the predecessor, and the Sports 1200 Sport was the first one to get the Fair Lady name, but it really wasn't very impressive car to me. I mean, it's kind of lumpy and ugly, but this car was actually the first one that was stylish, and it was kind of the first true Datsun sports car, and it was known as the Datsun 1500 in the U.S. So it actually came here to the U.S. 1.5 liter engine, so 77 horsepower, but that's kind of the what was expected back in 1962, 63. But this car is with the Fair Lady name and everything is what led to the Z car. There was a 1600 also. There's of course the 1800 also, I think, and then the 2000. Sports 2000 was the last one in the line.
Did the U.S. get all of those versions?
Starting from 1500, the U.S. got the Datsun cars, and then in this was the 2000 came in 1970, and then of course in 1969, 1970 is when the Z car came out, and that would be the new Fair Lady. So this car really was the predecessor of the modern day Z car.
And did this car also have the Fair Lady branding as well? Or
yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Yes. Yeah. This car was the Fair Lady before the Z was the Fair Lady, and then when the Z came out, the Z was called the Fair Lady. So it was the successor of this car.
I see. Yeah, I've never seen any of these cars. I don't think
Oh,
I've ever
really?
seen one.
Actually, I've seen them driving around on the East
Yeah, there's
Coast.
loads of them here in Los Angeles, Tara.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
never
there's
seen
the
one in the
Datsuns.
flesh in the U.S.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
you have, Tara. You would have just walked right past it. I
Really?
mean, there's lots and lots of these in Los Angeles driving
Really,
around now.
There is,
I don't remember ever seeing any of these in
Yeah, if
LA.
you go to like the Japanese classic car show, they're there all. There's like got a whole row of them.
And I'm sorry, there doesn't seem to be an 1800. I think there was a 1500.
Oh yeah,
1600,
so
and
maybe, yeah,
2000.
maybe
Yeah.
I've seen one at
It's
the
a s-
at
it's six-
like Long Beach, the classic car show or something
The
like that. Yeah.
1600s and the 2000s are really popular here in LA.
And
Yeah.
what's notable about this car is even in the U.S., it made for a pretty good race car. It says it won 10 national SCCA championships. This car. So
Yeah.
So
It was
Oh,
the
yeah.
BRE team drove these before they got the Zs.
yeah, before the Z's came out.
John
so-
Motson, I think it was,
yeah,
that was driving
so-
them.
Yeah. So it's a cool car. It's kind of like the Miata before the Miata, and yeah, production ended in 1970. So it's been gone for a while, but the car lives on this list as number 31. So, and I think that's 5 right there, isn't it?
That's correct, Sam. But I like to see
That
that you're
is.
taking the Datsun Roadster over the Toyota and the Honda there. 3
Yeah.
good examples there in that 5, and you were like, "This is the best."
Thank you. Yeah, I think we had a good.
I think
we
you
had a good-
bunched up. Yeah, I think you bunched up a lot of the classic roadsters in this.
Yeah, a lot of
5
2-seaters, right?
section.
Because Toyota
Yeah.
MR2 is a 2-seater, the Honda S800, the Roadster, Acura NSX. Yeah, they're all 2-seaters. So we're finally getting very pure sports cars. But as you guys can expect that there are 4 doors and 4-seaters, still many to come on this list. So there you go. Now we've done to 50 to number 31. And starting from next one, we go 30 and under.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay,
Nice
so my
list.
segment
Nice.
is finished.
So with that, then I
Yes,
better
yes.
get onto my segment then before you
Yes.
close me out and like rush me off with 30 seconds to go.
No, that's not me. That's Tara.
So the car that I was in last time was the RCF Fuji Speedway Edition. Was the one that I had, which is basically what I think might be. I have a feeling with the IS 500 coming out and taking over this engine, that this will be probably the last rendition of the RCF. I
really?
can't see where I don't know where they're going to go with it afterwards. I mean, if you've got the IS 500
Mhm.
and this, why would you keep it going, kind of thing? I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
it's
IS 500 has the 4 doors, and this has the 2, but why not just call it an IS 500 coupe and just have 2 doors instead and sort of retire it? But so this is based on the track edition, and then they went a little bit further with this, a little bit more extreme, as you could see, for example, with all the carbon fiber that's on place there. You've got a carbon fiber bonnet, big spoiler, big aero front and back, the roof. Inside, it is a very well set up car. It's a very aggressive car, I will say that, when my picture comes through, hopefully when it works. There it goes.
There it goes.
Look at It's
I was
got carbon.
wondering if I was starting to need glasses there. for a
I
second.
know.
Tara, we do.
Carbon fiber, big 16-inch, I think, Brembos up front, 14-inch Brembos at the back, carbon fiber discs in there. I mean, I really have to say, I can't think enough of this car. I really, really enjoyed it. Retails at $97,000.
Ooh, oh boy.
So that's $30,000 more than the standard RCF, and you're only dropping 0.1 second to 60 miles an hour. But I don't really think that's where you're really seeing the benefit. You're seeing the benefit in all the workmanship that goes into this car. The carbon fiber on it was absolutely exquisite. It really puts it up there against the likes of the BMW M4 and the Mercedes AMG C63 is who it's going up against. At this price point, it's significantly higher than those at base level. But as soon as you spec those cars out like this, they get much, much more expensive very, very quickly. So, I mean, this car was well built on the inside, well built on the outside. There was 2 things that I say that I was not particularly a fan of. This car still maintained the Lexus trackpad on the inside, which wasn't ideal, obviously, as we've talked about in the past. It's not one of the big things that the that Lexus did well. The gearbox I also felt wasn't the best for going fast. While you were going around town, the 8-speed automatic transmission was absolutely fantastic, was great. But if you were taking up in the canyons and going exactly to the speed limit, maybe 2 or 3% over the speed limit, it could have done with maybe a DCT transmission would have been a little better for it.
Even at like what was it, Sports Plus mode?
Yeah. I mean, the gearing is designed for the Fuji circuit itself. So the Fuji circuit is a little different to the canyons here in Los Angeles. Yeah,
Fuji circuit's fast. There's a good.
So if you were messing with it and going down, sometimes it'd hold the gears a lot higher than you needed to be in, for example. So it's just the way it was set up. So that's why I thought if it had the DCT, it just would give you that little bit more of a flexibility between the two. But actually being able to stop, I mean, first time ever having carbon fiber brakes. Those carbon discs are incredible. I mean,
well, there's like at least $10,000.
No, that's if you 10,000. It was if you buy the carbon discs on the M4, it was $9,000. But then you needed to buy the upgraded wheel and tire combination package as well, which is another $1,500. So that's as you said, Sam, 10 grand easily.
Yeah.
But the carbon discs, man, if you want to stop, they stop you. The balance and handling of this car, though, I mean, was exquisite. You just felt so comfortable. It felt so at ease when you were going into the corners. It was perfect. If you didn't want to like have the back end go out, you can put a little bit of traction control in there, so it keeps you all flat, keeps you pointed. It was great. One thing that Grace really, really liked about this car was one of the buttons in the center console there. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. See if it'll let me do it. One of the buttons there, see that right here underneath the selector there for the Sport Plus, it says launch. So you have launch mode on this car.
Oh.
So that is really great for Grace when she's at the traffic lights. She never likes to be second at the traffic lights. She has an affinity for wanting to be first. So she really liked that because she could press that button and it was very easy to just manipulate what revs you launch at, anywhere from in a 2 to 320, 2,000 to 2,800 on the rev range. The sweet spot, I'd say, was like 2,200. You launched there. I mean, not much was catching it, to be fair. I mean, it was a great setup. And another thing that I really, really liked about it, if we zoom in again and I'll bring it over here, was the carbon fiber weaving on the inside. So this has a red tinge to it that runs cross weave to the carbon fiber weave, which was really classy. I really liked it. I thought it was a really good job of what they were doing. So obviously it comes in at $102,000 was the test vehicle, including delivery. There's only going to be 60 of these in the United States.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, really? Wow.
It came with a fancy watch as part of the deal. I mean, I thought it was an exception. I thought it was a really, really good car. I was very sad.
What kind of watch was this?
I think it's like, it's a small company based here in Los Angeles that deals with, they do like, they've done some work with like Star Wars and they've released them. I think it's M Meister, I think, from the top of my head. It was the ones that do the watch.
Okay, yeah. And the
So-
exterior, like the body, what comes in carbon fiber? And
So the front split is
Obviously
all
the
carbon
hood.
fiber. Yep.
the hood,
The hood is carbon fiber. The roof,
the roof as well. Okay.
Yep.
And then the rear, you get
Spoiler.
that wing. Yeah.
the rear diffuser here.
User, right?
It's got some winglets on the side and the front here. That's carbon fiber. It's all actually proper aero, where you've got two air. You've